Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am wondering if Bryan Kohberger had access to the 911 call center that does calls in the Pullman, Washington, Moscow, Idaho area. It's called Whitcomb 911. And I'm wondering if Bryan Kohberger, from his Washington State University campus job, could listen in on those 911 calls. Why do I ask that? Well, because it's already been reported that Bryan Kohberger possibly had access to crime scene, the lab of crime scenes, and video footage that other police departments used that maybe contracted with the criminology department at Washington State University. I'm going to show you this report, and then we're going to further discuss. This was a report by Fox News. Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger's grad program had access to crime lab with camera streams. Insider, a WSU campus insider, compared Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger to a wolf in the henhouse. According to multiple sources, Bryan Kohberger's former doctoral program at Washington State University granted access to a crime lab database of police body cam videos and live streams from security cameras on and off the WSU campus. The materials could have allowed an unauthorized person to view unredacted crime scene images and videos using controls that could zoom in on faces. The university confirmed that Kohberger was not part of the program, but students can apply for access to the CSI lab by filling out a questionnaire online. Access to the facility is tracked through key card records, and student employees did not have access to raw data or personally identifying information in the WSP study. I wonder if Bryan Kohberger had access to Whitcomb 911 phone calls. Whitcomb is the 911 center that Moscow, Idaho residents use to call 911, and I believe it's also Pullman uses it. If Bryan Kohberger had access to, allegedly access to these CSI type crime labs, wouldn't he also have access to the 911 calls? What do you think? So it didn't say anything about 911 calls, but I'm wondering if Bryan Kohberger had access to 911 calls. Because remember, this Moscow, Idaho crime, the 911 call to report that the 4 college students were brutally stabbed happened at 11:58 a.m. on the 13th, right? 11:58 a.m. Well, according to the affidavit of probable cause, Bryan Kohberger was down in Lewiston, Idaho you've seen his phone pinged. A vehicle similar to his vehicle was seen in Lewiston, Idaho at 12:36 p.m. So we're talking on November 13th. So we're talking 38 minutes after the 911 call was made. Further analysis of the cellular data provided showed the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13, 2022, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho via U.S. Highway 195 at approximately 12:36 p.m. on November 13, 2022. The 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe, which is located in Clarkston, Washington, right in the Lewiston, Idaho area. 12:36 p.m. Interesting. Why was Bryan Kohberger down there that day in the afternoon on the 13th? About 38 minutes after the 911 call was made to report the crime. Now we look at the distance from Pullman to Lewiston, Idaho. Makes me wonder if Bryan Kohberger on the 13th of November was monitoring the Whitcomb 911 call center saw that a call came through to 911 at 11:58, and at that point zoomed out of Pullman, Washington, and left and headed as far, pretty far away to try to maybe analyze or understand what's going on and how they're proceeding at that crime scene based off the 911 calls. Maybe he had remote access to continue to listen to these 911 calls, or maybe even some sort of body cam footage or police reports or something, but he was doing it at a distance, because the mystery was, why did Bryan Kohberger go all the way down to the Lewiston, Idaho area, 30 miles to the south, and spend all afternoon there, in that area? And according to the affidavit of probable cause, Johnston, Idaho, in that area, up 195 between Pullman and Lewiston, and then his phone kind of vanished after 5:30 p.m. and went ghost from 5:30 p.m. to around 8:30 p.m. What was going on there? Makes me wonder, was Bryan monitoring how the investigators were doing the Moscow, Idaho case, and saw or heard, hey, 911 call around noon, let me get out of here, at least get away, so, I can kind of be at a distance to understand how they're doing their investigation with it, and then know how to proceed, and then made his way back later on when he thought maybe the coast was clear. That's a definite possibility. Definite possibility that Bryan Kohberger could have had access to the Whitcomb 911. Do you think they contract with WSU campus? I mean, if it's true that the WSU campus works with other police departments and allows their students there to access this body cam footage and video surveillance and whatnot, why wouldn't they also do the 911 calls so the criminology students can listen in into 911 calls? Or maybe Bryan got the passcode. Maybe Whitcomb has some sort of, some of their employees are able to have a passcode, so they're at their own homes and they can listen in on 911 calls, and Bryan somehow got access to that. Definite possibility. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. Trying to figure this mystery out. Trying to figure this all out. Check out my Moscow, Idaho playlist. Love to hear your comments on this theory, or is it just bogus? Why was Bryan Kohberger down south? 38 minutes, 37 minutes. Now, he could have flew a little bit faster. It is a remote road. I drove on that road. You could probably go very, very fast. So you could probably get down there very quicker, believe it or not. But the timing seems right there aligned. So I'm just wondering why he went down that area right after the 911 call was made. We'll talk soon. I'll be reading your comments. Justice for the victims and their families. Stay tuned. Oh, one more thing, and I would like to add. There is a lot of you out there that believe that Bryan Kohberger is not involved. And, just because my position is I feel that there is a lot of evidence, a lot of you say there isn't. So, you might say, well, how do you know it was even Bryan in the first place? I get it. I understand. I do listen to you guys. Respect all your theories and opinions. So keep them coming. We'll talk soon.